Last night, we witnessed the debut of oval rain tires in NASCAR, although they should probably consider changing the name to damp but mostly dry tires. Be more accurate. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. Another episode, that means another hotel room. I'll be heading to Martinsville Speedway this afternoon, and tomorrow I'll be there the rest of the weekend, so if you see me at the track, feel free to come say hi. But first, I want to react to a few things that happened during last night's Craftsman Truck Series race. It had its moments. Congratulations to Corey Heim, Tricon Garage, getting the win. Beat Kyle Busch to get it. That's impressive. But overall, last night's race was pretty unwatchable. You can blame the weather for most of it. Lightning and showers forced them to delay the start by a couple hours, and then even once they got rolling, there were pop-up showers. They ended the race early. Corey Heim ends up with a rain-shortened victory. So it's hard to be too upset about the weather. You can't control the weather, and last night with the storms and showers made it very difficult to call that race. That being said, this race was historic. NASCAR officially debuted their all-new oval rain tires. They used them in competition for the first time ever. That's right, last night's Truck Series race began on wet tires. They raced roughly the first 25 green flag laps on those tires without major incident. No wrecks. The racing looked like pretty typical Martinsville. After about 10 or 15 laps, the track got pretty dry, and then those wet tires began to wear very, very quickly. There were, I think, a couple of seconds of tire fall off by the time they reached lap 25. But overall, I think a very solid debut for this all-new tire that was first tested, I think, a couple of years ago. Hadn't yet been used in competition on an oval, but I think last night, those first 25 laps had everyone kind of smiling, or at least nodding their head like, okay, we may have something here, nice. The problem is TV kept calling them rain tires because on road courses, they have used similar tires in the rain during active rain showers. But last night, as lingering showers persisted, NASCAR refused to put the rain tires back on and to race in any sort of rain. The name is very misleading. Now, NASCAR said for a long time that they never really intended to race in active rain on these oval tracks. So change the name of the tires, call them damp tires, or like I said earlier, damp but mostly dry, because that's really what the track looked like those first 25 laps. But overall, drivers had positive things to say about the wet tires last night. I heard Kyle Busch over the radio had good things to say. Ryan Preece tweeted this as a slick, lobbying for even less grip on the normal tire that is used in dry conditions. Denny Hamlin tweeted, it is possible to make a tire with fall off after all, huh? So maybe some of these drivers lobbying for groove tires. We've heard rumors that that might get tested at some point this year. It sounds like drivers, whether they raced it or watched it on TV, liked what they saw from the oval wet tires last night. The issue wasn't with how they raced, it was with how they were used. I saw a few tweets reporting that at least some of the smaller Truck Series teams were very frustrated that NASCAR forced them to buy an expensive set of these tires only to use them for, about 25 laps. That's like 10 minutes of racing on a track that was already mostly dry. This tweet from Colby Evans, Timmy Hill's radio, so we wasted an extra $2,400 to help them dry the track. And the crew chief, it's all for TV so they can pat themselves on the back. Later in the night, I saw Chase Cabrey tweeted this, $172,000 spent on rain tires, and we're not going to finish the race because of rain. Yeah, so the criticism is that NASCAR and Goodyear developed this tire that apparently can only be used in very, very specific conditions. Rain still ended the race early, like Chase Cabrey notes. Both those tweets I just read you talk about the teams having to spend a lot of money, and these Truck Series budgets are not Cup Series budgets. A lot of smaller teams like the Timmy Hill team, $2,400, they feel that. So I saw a few fans bring this up, and actually it's a pretty good point. The purpose of creating these wet tires for ovals is to shorten the length of rain delays, right? Who does that benefit? Does it benefit the teams if the rain delay is a little shorter? Maybe if they don't have to postpone the race a day, they don't spend extra night on hotel rooms, change their travel. Yeah, sure, I guess that could help the teams. Could help NASCAR, of course. They want their fans who went to the racetrack or are watching on TV to go home happy, seeing a full race on the day it was scheduled, if at all possible. But the group that cares the most about getting a race done as close to the original scheduled window as possible is TV. Fox, in this case, or NBC. They should pay for the tires. Why do the teams have to pay for these very special tires that are only going to be used 20 laps to make TV happy, or maybe to make NASCAR happy. NASCAR or its TV partners should pay the wet tire bill. I'm being serious. I don't know. I think it's worth considering. Because last night during the second or third rain delay, the track was slightly damp, I guess, but NASCAR was insisting that they dry it completely before restarting. Everyone was asking questions. Wait, we have damp tires. We just use them. Why are we not restarting this race sooner? And based on a couple of tweets I saw, it sounds like many of the teams in trucks, again, smaller budgets, they'd only bought one set of rain tires. They didn't have another set of wet tires sitting in the pits because it's just too expensive. They weren't required to buy 2 or 3 sets. They were only required to buy one. So NASCAR maybe knew that. They were trying to look out for the teams after the fact. And they're like, okay, we get it. We don't want to make you all have to buy more tires for like 10 laps. So let's wait an extra 30 minutes, get the track dry, and we'll go back racing on slicks. That seemed to be what NASCAR was thinking in the middle of last night's race. I'm rambling a bit here, but overall, it was cool to see oval wet tires used for the first time and used well. Those first 25 laps were good racing. But if we're not going to use them in very light rain or wet conditions, either because of performance concerns, safety concerns, or cost concerns, then what's the point of having them? If there's only a very specific set of circumstances where wet tires could be used on an oval, this whole project seems like a waste of money and time. Last night was the debut. I'm sure NASCAR didn't want to test their luck. They didn't want to push things too fast, too soon. I get that, but I don't know, something to watch going forward. That's my big takeaway. Now, real quick, I do want to talk about one thing that happened on the racetrack last night. My boy Carson Hocevar. I like Carson a lot. He was on this show, or he's on my podcast Power Hour a few weeks ago. Good guy, big fan, but he has to clean this stuff up. At the very end of last night's race, right before the final red flag that ended the race, on a restart, Hocevar gets put middle 3 wide, Taylor Gray to his inside, they make some contact off turn 2, and Carson Hocevar pretty clearly hangs a left and tries to right rear Taylor Gray, basically back into the pack. He ended up wrecking himself. He had a flat tire at that point and just spun it around, but NASCAR did take things into their own hands. They parked Hocevar for 2 laps. So he finished this race a couple laps down. Glad NASCAR reacted because while he did have a flat tire, it's pretty clear. He tried to wreck the 17 on purpose. He was mad that he got rubbed up into off of turn 2. I get it. Maybe it was an aggressive move by Taylor Gray. It looks like it cut one of Hocevar's tires down ultimately. I understand his frustration. I would be mad at Taylor Gray too, but what you can't do, as we learned at Las Vegas last fall, you cannot right rear hook someone towards the outside wall, or in this case, towards the rest of the pack, towards traffic just after a restart. It's dirty, it's a cheap shot. Martinsville is not the highest speed racetrack, but in most cases, it's still very unsafe. That is not the right way to take out your frustration or to try and get retaliation. I don't care if you're talking NASCAR, your local short track, right rear hooking someone like that or trying to right rear someone like that is wrong and should be penalized. If this was the first time Carson Hocevar had pulled something like this, I'd be upset. I'd say, hey, don't do that, but I wouldn't be quite as miffed or disappointed as I am now. The problem is Carson Hocevar has made this kind of mistake numerous times the past couple of years. He's intentionally spun out to bring out the caution a couple different times and has been rightfully called out for it. Last year, he successfully right-reared Colby Howard at IRP, and somehow NASCAR never addressed that. Even last night, before this incident with Taylor Gray, the restart before, he kind of inexplicably turned left and door slammed William Sawalich. I still don't know exactly how to pronounce his name, which I apologize, but hey, 16-year-old had a heck of a debut last night. That save after the Hocevar contact, chef's kiss, that was gorgeous. But Hocevar door slams him the restart before. Maybe that was just an accident. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, even though I don't think he's earned the benefit of the doubt. But for Hocevar to door slam a guy and on the very next restart then try to right rear hook someone, glad NASCAR stepped in. He deserves to be called out, and some of his peers did. Like Denny Hamlin most notably tweeted this, "What's wrong with that kid?" Like I said, I like Carson Hocevar a lot. Good dude, lots of talent, has the skill to work his way up the ladder. I think he wants to and has a great shot at being a part of NASCAR for a long, long time. But he has to clean this stuff up ASAP. He's losing the respect of his peers, his competitors, the entire industry, the fans. It may cost him opportunities one day unless he can clean things up starting now. He can't keep getting away with this. I'm glad NASCAR at least sat him for 2 laps last night. I think they have held him a couple laps in the past for those intentional spins. So, maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe Carson Hocevar just needs some other sort of wake-up call because these little in-race penalties don't seem to be getting the job done. I like Carson a lot. I gave him the benefit of the doubt at the end of the Texas race a couple weeks ago that he won. But with these kinds of moves, he's not earning the benefit of the doubt. And I hate to see that. I want to see Hocevar do well. I want to see him be well liked, well received by fans, sponsors. Moves like this one are not cool. There are better ways to take out your frustrations with another driver. You can't right rear them potentially into traffic. That is unacceptable. I'm trying to make sure I'm in focus so the camera's not focusing on my messy bed back there. But anyway, those are really my only takeaways from last night's Craftsman Truck Series race. I want to know what you think. If you stayed up late to watch it on TV, more power to you. If you were there in the grandstands watching through rain delay after rain delay, even more power to you. You are legit. You are awesome. Let me know what you thought of last night's race, the wet tires, damp tires, Carson Hocevar, everything in between. Again, congrats to Corey Heim. I don't want to skim past that too fast. That's awesome. Great for him to get that win. That is going to do it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like. If you're new and you love NASCAR, hit that subscribe button down below. And thank you to my Patreon supporters for your very generous and continued support. Gonna head to the racetrack in time for Cup Series qualifying, the Xfinity race tonight. FS1, Chase Elliott returns tomorrow. FS1 for the Cup Series race. Lots of exciting things happening at the Paperclip this weekend. I will see you there. Have a wonderful rest of your day, folks.